Hi guys, how you all doing today? Thanks for being here. Of all places that you could be, I am so glad that you are here with me today. I'm Barb. Welcome to Halfway to Sane, where together we explore real cases with respect, clarity, and curiosity. In a world where truth hides in the shadows, we uncover the stories that refuse to stay buried, and every case deserves to be told. Today's case is a very short one. I don't have a whole lot of information on it. But today we are going to be discussing the case of Maryann Bagenstose. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get right into it. And Maryann and her husband Jerry Bagenstose were separated and were going through a custody battle. And she remained in the family home on West Willow Road in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where she also had a boarder living with her by the name of William Yelitz. And her husband Jerry had left and moved in with his mother. On June 5th, 1984, Jerry said he had gone to pick her up to take her to look at a car, but she wasn't ready. So he said he took their 2-year-old son to a nearby park in the meantime, and when he returned to get her, she was gone. He said she did leave a note on the kitchen table stating that she was walking to the local Turkey Hill mini market. However, the store employees that were working said they never seen her that day. Now, 25-year-old Maryann was never seen again, and her disappearance occurred the day before Jerry and her were supposed to have a child custody hearing. Jerry never contacted police to report Maryann missing. And Maryann and her mother Geraldine, they were very close. They spoke every day, and then suddenly those calls stopped. And it was Geraldine who reported Maryann missing. Now, she also hired a private detective by the name of Richard Jeffries to try and help find her. Now, to those who knew Maryann, said the idea of her simply walking away made no sense. Friends and family said she would never have left her son behind. A daycare worker recalled a chilling warning Maryann had once made before she vanished. She said if anything ever happened to her, Jerry would be responsible. Now, when authorities had arrived at the property to investigate the disappearance, they found Jerry had been digging a deep hole in the garage of their home, hidden beneath cardboard, which investigators described as grave-like. Now, this hole was apparently near shoulder height to Jerry. Now, a search warrant was obtained and the hole was excavated. However, no signs of Maryann had been there. But for investigators, the message was clear. Whatever happened to Maryann, foul play was involved. Now, police followed leads from the air and on the ground. They checked reports of strange odors. They searched fields where turkey buzzards had been circling and investigated every possible sighting. There was one location that constantly drew their attention, and that was Shanks Ferry, which is a rugged nature preserve in Lancaster County. It was an area where Jerry was believed to know well, although he denied that to investigators. But Jerry had actually called that private investigator, Richard Jeffries, and claimed he thought that Maryann could possibly be buried there if somebody had harmed her. Now, Jerry offered to take him there, although stating he had never been there. Yet he drove the investigator there as if he knew exactly where he was going. But once inside the preserve, Jerry broke away from the group, and when Richard found him, Jerry was standing silently and staring. Moments later, Jerry began shouting that they were leaving, and Richard said that they never spoke again. Authorities had checked Maryann's bank accounts and her Social Security activity, and there were bones that were discovered in a wooded area, but they were tested and they turned out to be animal bones. Now, investigators never stopped searching, and they had returned to Shanks Ferry multiple times over the years using grid searches and cadaver dogs, but the terrain was rough. There were steep hills, thick brush, and nearly 100 acres of difficult ground. Now, decades later, in December of 2022, Jerry Bagenstose was arrested after investigators revisited the forged note story, and prosecutors presented evidence that he never reported Maryann missing and gave conflicting accounts about the hole in the garage, and he stated he had been threatened by Maryann over financial and custody disputes. In April of 2025, a Lancaster County jury convicted him of voluntary manslaughter in a rare no-body homicide trial. He was sentenced on June 17, 2025 to 4 to 10 years in state prison, and despite the conviction, Maryann's body has never been found, leaving her family without a grave to visit. The conviction brought a measure of justice, but no closure. Now, Maryann's disappearance has remained a haunting case in Lancaster County for over 40 years. So I would like to thank you for spending time learning about this case, as short as it was. But remember, behind every headline is a real person whose story deserves to be told. So if you did enjoy this, if you haven't already done so, please do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. Any ideas on any future cases, please leave them down below. And until next time, bye.